Hi everyone! This video is going to be a review for another holiday palette. This time around it is going to be for NARS's Virtual Domination Palette. This palette is exclusive to Sephora and it is $65. And if you haven't seen my other two holiday palette reviews yet, you can click on them here. This one's for Too Faced Best Wishes and Sweet Kisses palette, and right here is for IT Cosmetics Naturally Beautiful Celebration palette. And you can see both live swatches and my spoken review on those palettes in those videos if you want to check those out. Like with those other two videos, in this video I will talk to you about my thoughts on the palette, but I will also do the live swatches that I have always done on this channel for you. If you want to know what I am wearing, I know people always ask me that and get frustrated that I don't talk about it. To be fair, most of the time I don't even remember what I put on my face because I am like a chemist when I use makeup. I mix and match things all over the place, so it's rare that I can just say, oh, I'm wearing this on my lips, this color from this brand, because usually there's like 2 or 3 things on my lips that I've mixed together. This time around I can tell you, on my eyes, my eye look, I have used the IT Cosmetics Celebration palette to create this eye look. On the rest of my face I have used the NARS Domination palette, so later on in this video you will see how I apply some of the colors from this palette to the face, and this is how it comes out and looks. And for my lips, I am wearing a Stila lip gloss. This is one of their pearl shimmer glosses, and I don't know what the shade is because the sticker fell off on the bottom, but it is this metallic berry toned color, but it is very sheer, so the effect that you get isn't as intense as what you see in the tube. Alright, so let's get on to looking at how each of these colors swatches. So here is the packaging for Virtual Domination up close. It is really beautiful. It has this sort of abstract geometric floral design on top, and unlike NARS's typical packaging, this one is mostly white. It has a snap closure, and this is how the cheek colors are laid out in the pan, with Laguna bronzer taking up more than twice the amount of the other blush shades. And it has a full-size mirror inside, which is always really nice. Okay, so in terms of swatching, I'll go clockwise and then I will do Laguna bronzer for you. So the highlighting shade we have here is Miss Liberty, and then the blush shade we have here is Deep Throat. And then we have Sex Fantasy and Final Cut, and then Laguna bronzer. So here is one layer of Miss Liberty. Now it's pretty much colorless once it goes on the skin. There's a slight hint of a champagne, but it's mostly just silver glitter particles. And here it is with 2 layers, just so you can see it a little better. So up close you can see those individual sort of specks of tiny glitter or shimmer. Okay, here is one layer of Deep Throat. This is a pink with a peach undertone and some very subtle gold sheen to it. It has very nice pigmentation. The shade compared to Orgasm is more of a coral color, and I personally think that this is a much nicer shade and more universal. Even though Orgasm is a much more popular shade, I like this one much, much better. And here it is with 2 layers applied. You can see that you don't really need to layer this color, but if you do, you certainly don't need more than 2 layers. And there it is up close. You can see you get that really nice, refined, slightly golden sheen to the skin. Okay, so here is one layer of Sex Fantasy. This is a really pale, sort of dusty pink with a slight hint of violet in it. And you can see that this blush is really sheer in pigmentation. Here it is with 2 layers, and I'm actually applying this over primer just because it was so hard to get it to show up on my skin. Okay, and this is it with 3 layers. Kind of like an ashy finish that this shade has. Really not my favorite color, both because of the pigmentation. It really requires 3 layers on my skin, on my cheeks, for it to even start to show up or be noticeable, and I don't like the ashy finish that it has to the color. So there you can see up close, you can see that if you just applied it with a single layer, it would not show up as a blush, at least on my skin. Maybe if you're completely fair toned, it would show up, but otherwise you have to put on multiple layers just to get it to start to be noticeable. And then here's Final Cut, which is a peachy coral. It has a pretty strong orange undertone actually. And it has a matte finish, good pigmentation on this blush, just like with Deep Throat. And here it is with 2 layers. And then of course the infamous Laguna bronzer. This is a nice tone. It's not orangey, although it is cool toned. It does have a yellow undertone to it. And you get sort of a soft tanned shade at first, but it is buildable if you want to strengthen the bronzing effect that you're given. Now, technically this in the pan does have really small, subtle shimmer, and if you go in the sun, you'll be able to see the sheen. I feel comfortable using this all over the face and for contouring if I know I'm not going to be in direct sunlight. So especially for nighttime, I feel comfortable, but it might not be the best for direct sunlight or daytime. So by the swatches, you can see that definitely my least favorite part of this palette is this blush here. I just think that the effect isn't flattering. When I tested it on my face, I applied 3 layers of the color and I could barely see anything at all, barely any change on my cheek color. And I just ended up layering, I think, Deep Throat on top of it when I was testing it out just because I couldn't see anything. The Miss Liberty highlighting shade is also not my favorite, not because there's anything particularly wrong with it, but my personal preference is that I like luminizers that don't have individualized shimmering particles that you can see on the face. And with this highlighting blush, or shade, you can definitely see the specks of glitter. Now on camera, you probably cannot see the speckled glitter particles. They aren't that large. But if I were to look at a mirror like this, even this far away from me, I can see these specks of glitter that are above my cheekbone where I've dusted some of that highlighting shade, and especially down the bridge of the nose. I don't want it to look like little specks of individualized shimmer, even though the shimmer is pretty small. So my personal preference is to have a luminizer that you can't tell that with, that just gives a sheer sheen of glow without seeing specks. But I think a lot of people who don't care about that will like that highlighting powder. Or if you just keep it to the tops of the cheeks, then it's not that big of a problem. But I just don't think that I like using it down the bridge of my nose or on my cupid's bow or any other part of my face that I would want to luminize because of that shimmering quality. The Laguna bronzer, I really like this. I think it does a good job of giving you a natural bronzing and contouring effect. But I wouldn't, like I mentioned, I wouldn't wear it out in sunlight during the daytime unless I knew it was overcast or it was during the nighttime, because I wouldn't want that sheen to come across when applying this all over the face. If I were to be in bright sunlight, then I would just keep it to the cheeks as a bronzing blush. And I really like Final Cut, and Deep Throat is one of my all-time favorite NARS blush shades. They very quickly give a nice flush of color that you can layer if you want it to be even more intense, but honestly, I don't think that you need to layer it that much. So I would feel really good about hands down recommending this palette if the Sex Fantasy blush were replaced by pretty much any other NARS blush that's out there, because usually NARS blushes are really, really good and good quality. But I just feel like that's kind of a letdown in this palette. And personally, the Miss Liberty blush I would have replaced with another highlighting powder, but I think a lot of other people will like it a lot. So for the $65, if you don't have any of these colors, or let's say you have Laguna but you use it all the time, which I know a lot of people do, and you know that you will be using it regularly, then this is a good value palette. If it weren't for this one blush, but hey, you know, some people out there may really, really like that color, and definitely for the amount of product that you're getting and the price point compared to buying these individually, it is a very good deal. If you want to see further thoughts in my written review, or if you want to see photos of the swatches that I've done, you can go to the link below in the description box to the written review that I've already posted for this palette. I hope that this was helpful to you if you were considering buying this for yourself or as a gift for someone else. Thanks for taking the time time to watch, please subscribe, and of course stay tuned for December because I will be doing my 12 days of Christmas giveaway or some equivalent type of massive giveaway for the end of the year like I usually do. Alright, thanks for taking the time to watch. I will see you in the next video. Bye. This is a Trader Joe's item. This is their limited edition or seasonal pumpkin body butter. Now, their traditional coconut body butter that they have all the time is wonderful too, but I am, like I'm sure many of you are, a great fan of pumpkin everything, especially during the fall, and this body butter has a slightly sweet pumpkin scent that is to die for. I actually bought